is getting a little bit nervous. And she's getting nervous because we have won 7 out of the last 8 caucuses and primaries. She's getting nervous because when we began this campaign, we were 60 points behind, and in the last couple of weeks, a few national polls have actually had us in the lead. And she's getting nervous because Democratic voters know that in virtually every national matchup general election poll, we beat Donald Trump by wider numbers than she does. And the American people are catching on that if we are going to prevent Trump or some other Republican from occupying the White House, which would be a disaster for our country, we have got the campaign to make sure that that does not happen. This is the campaign that has the energy, that has the enthusiasm, and that in November will create the kind of voter turnout that will not only allow us to retain the White House, but will regain the U.S. Senate. We'll do better in the House. Now, as many of you know, there is, as we speak, right this moment, there is a Democratic primary taking place in New York State. Now, the polls don't close there until 9 p.m., so we don't know who is going to be winning or losing. But you know what? We're going to do a lot better, I think, than people thought we would. And I want to thank all of the people in New York for the support that they are giving us today. But I do want to say something. One of the themes of this campaign in Pennsylvania and every state that we have been to is the need to reinvigorate American democracy. Right now in America, we have one of the lowest voter turnout rates of any major country on earth. And I want us to change that. I want to see more of our people actively involved in the political process, regardless of their views. And in that regard, I would hope that in future primary elections in New York State, the officials there make some fundamental changes about how they do business. Today in New York State, if you can believe this, in New York State today, about 27% of the eligible voters in that state are unable to participate in the Democratic or Republican primaries because they have chosen to list themselves as independents. That's wrong. Almost 3 million people in that state cannot vote today, and that has got to change in future elections. It is absurd that in Brooklyn, New York, where I was born, actually, tens of thousands of people, as I understand it, have been purged from the voting rolls. It's a little bit crazy that in upstate New York, they opened the polls at 12 noon. What happens to people who get up early in the morning and have to go to work? And yet, despite all of that, despite the fact that Secretary Clinton has won elections there twice for the U.S. Senate, despite the fact that she beat then-Senator Obama in 2008 in the primary there by 17 points, despite the fact that virtually the entire New York political Democratic establishment is standing with her, you know what? We're going to do just fine tonight in New York. And the reason that we're going to do as well as we will is because we're doing something pretty radical in contemporary American politics. We are telling the truth. And the truth is, and people understand it, whether you're conservative, progressive, or moderate, is we have a corrupt campaign finance system which is undermining American democracy. Democracy is not a complicated process. It is one person, one vote, not billionaires and their super PACs buying elections. And when I talk about revitalizing American democracy, what it means is that if any of you are interested in running for office, no matter what your view may be, I want you to be able to stand up, fight for your points of view, and run for office without having to beg wealthy people for campaign contributions. And I am very proud. You know, when we talk about a political revolution and transforming America, we are already accomplishing that in terms of the way that our campaign is raising money. We are virtually the only campaign that does not have a super PAC. We made a decision early on that our campaign does not represent the billionaire class. We don't represent corporate America. We don't represent Wall Street. And we have chosen not to take their money. Instead, what we have done is something unprecedented in the history of this country. What we have done is reach out to the middle class and working families. And what we have said is, look, if you want a candidate who is prepared to stand up to the 1% who have so much impact over our economy and our political life, support us. We need your help. And unbelievably, and in a million years, I never would have predicted that this could happen. In the last 11-plus months, we have received some 7 million individual campaign contributions. That is more campaign contributions than any candidate in the history of our country at this point in an election. And what we have shown uniquely is that we can run a winning national campaign without being dependent on the big money interests. Anyone here know what the average campaign contribution is? That's right. It's absolutely right. $27. That's pretty good. Now, Secretary Clinton has chosen another approach. She has a number of super PACs, and in the last filing report, her major super PAC listed $25 million in special interest funding, including $15 million from Wall Street. Now, in addition to that, as some of you may know, Secretary Clinton has given speeches behind closed doors to Wall Street firms for $225,000 a speech. Now, what I have said is if you're going to get paid $225,000 for a speech, must be a pretty good speech. Must be an earth-shattering speech. Must be a speech which sheds brand new light on the global crises that we face. Must be a speech written in Shakespearean prose. I mean, I can't imagine anyone getting $2.25 for a speech if it's not that great. So I think if that speech is as great as it must be a good idea for the Secretary to release the transcript of that speech to all of us. Now, Secretary Clinton has said, well, she will release those transcripts if other people do the same. All right, are you ready? Are you ready for a dramatic announcement? All right, this is an historical moment, so pay rapt attention. Tonight, I am announcing that I will release all of the transcripts of all of the speeches I have given to Wall Street. And because I believe in transparency on this matter, I am going to make all of those transcripts available to you right now. Are you ready? All right, here they come. We got them? That's it. No speeches, no transcripts, not for $225,000, not for $2. But I am keeping my cell phone on because I am waiting for that call from J.P. Morgan Chase or Goldman Sachs saying, Bernie, we want you to give a speech to Wall Street. Now, I don't need $200,000, I don't need $2, but I would like to speak to Wall Street, and I will tell you why. Because it is important for somebody to tell Wall Street that their greed, their recklessness, and their illegal behavior seriously hurt the lives of millions of our fellow Americans. As a result of their actions, their illegal actions, millions of Americans lost their jobs, their homes, and their life savings, and many of those people have yet to recover. Now, the other point that I would like to make to Wall Street is when Congress, against my vote, bailed them out, when Congress bailed them out because the major banks were too big to fail, turns out that 3 out of the 4 largest banks today are bigger now than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail. Turns out that 5 major banks could not recently pass what's called a living will process, telling us how they would break themselves up in the event of a financial crisis for those banks. Turns out also that in the last week or two, Goldman Sachs, one of the large financial institutions on Wall Street, reached a $5 billion settlement with the United States government. You know why they reached that settlement? Because they acknowledged that they were selling worthless packages of subprime mortgage loans. And they, of course, were not the only bank. Other major banks reached even larger settlements. So point number one, I want you to think about this as we think outside of the box. Wall Street is the most powerful entity in the United States of America. They have more economic and political power than any other entity in our country. And yet it turns out that the business model for the major financial institutions is fraud. And that is why when 3 out of 4 are larger than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail, today we have got to break them up. And here is another point that gets the American people very cynical and very angry. Some kid in Pennsylvania today gets picked up for possessing marijuana. That kid will have a criminal record for his entire life. But turns out that if you are an executive for a major Wall Street firm whose illegal behavior destroys the lives of millions of Americans, the only thing you get is an increase in your compensation package. And that is why, together, we are going to bring justice back to a broken criminal justice system. Now, I don't know, but maybe that's why they have not invited me to give that speech to Wall Street. Could be wrong. This campaign is doing as well as it is because we understand that not only do we have a corrupt campaign finance system, we have a rigged economy. And let me tell you what you're not going to see on television very often or read in the papers. And that is, in America today, we have more income and wealth inequality than almost any major country on earth, and it is worse today than at any time since 1928. Now, I want you to think about it, because this campaign is about thinking outside of the box. It is about not accepting the status quo because it is the status quo. It is about challenging the status quo. What this campaign is about is saying loudly and clearly that when the top 1/10 of 1%, not 1%, 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. That is not an economy that is moral, sustainable, or American. America should not be a nation in which the 20 wealthiest people, 20 people, have more wealth than the bottom 50% of our people, 150 million Americans. And let me explain what a rigged economy is about, because it's not just grotesque levels of income and wealth inequality. Today, the wealthiest family in America is the Walton family, who owns Walmart. Now, you're not going to see this on TV, but the fact is that Walmart is the largest private sector employer in this country, and the wages they pay their workers are so low that many of their employees are forced to go on food stamps or Medicaid. Who pays for those food stamps and Medicaid for Walmart employees? You do. That's what a rigged economy is about. You are subsidizing the wealthiest family in America. That is absurd. So I say to the Walton family, get off of welfare, start paying your employees a living wage. When we talk about the economy, it is not just a very unfortunate and grotesque distribution of wealth. It has everything to do with income. Now, for the young people here, let me tell you something. You probably won't believe it, but Google it after you leave. Not now. Wait a few minutes. Check this one out. 40 years ago, before all of the technology and all of the robotics and all of the cell phones and all of the global economy, guess what? 40 years ago, one person in a family, in those days, most often a man, could work 40 hours a week and bring in enough income to take care of the whole family. Now, I know you don't believe me, but it's true. Today, after an explosion of worker productivity, an explosion of technology, in almost all families, mom is working, dad's working, and the kids are working, and they have less disposable income than the one earner did 40 years ago. And in fact, let me give you some news that together we are going to have to address. All right, young people, you ready for this? All right, buckle up, because we're going to change it. But if we don't transform this economy, the young generation of today, for the first time in the modern history of America, will have a lower standard of living than your parents. In other words, unless we turn around this economy, which together we will, we are looking at the end of the American dream, and we will not allow that to happen. My family never had any money. Never had any money. But my father worked hard, my mom worked hard, and the expectation was that their children would do better than they. And that is what the American dream has been around for tens of millions of American families. But right now, unless we transform our economy, your generation will not do better than your parents, and that is why we will transform this economy. But it is not just the corrupt campaign finance system we have to deal with. It is not just a rigged economy. It is a broken criminal justice system. I hope all of you know that in America today, we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. 2.2 million people in jail. We're spending $80 billion a year locking them up. And that is why we need real reform in our criminal justice system. Today, youth unemployment is off the charts. African American youth unemployment for high school graduates is 51%. For Latinos, 36%. For white kids, 33%. Our job is to make certain that for our young people, we're going to invest in jobs and education, not jails and incarceration. And when we talk about criminal justice reform, we are talking about reforming local police departments all over this country. I was a mayor in Burlington, Vermont for 8 years. I worked with the police there, and I've worked with the police all over this country. Vast majority of police officers are honest, hardworking, and have a very difficult job to do. But like any other public official, when a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We need to demilitarize local police departments. They should not be looking like occupying armies. We need to make police departments reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. We need to make certain that every police officer in this country understands that lethal force is the last response, not the first response. We need to end corporate ownership of prisons and detention centers. We need to rethink the so-called war on drugs. In the last 30 years, millions of Americans have received police records as a result of possession of marijuana. And many lives have been destroyed as a result, and this becomes a racial issue because it turns out that the black community and the white community do marijuana at about equal rates, but blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested. Today, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug, right alongside heroin. And that is why I believe we must take marijuana out of the Federal Controlled Substance Act. Now, in my state of Vermont and all across this country today, we face a very serious crisis in terms of opiate addiction and heroin addiction, and every single day people are dying of drug overdoses. In my view, if we are going to be successful in addressing this issue, we need to understand that substance abuse and addiction is a health issue, not a criminal issue. And that means a revolution in the way we do mental health treatment in this country. And what that means is we have got to make mental health treatment available to people when they need it, not 6 months from now. Now, this campaign is going to win because we are listening to ordinary Americans, not just wealthy campaign contributors. And what working people are telling me from one end of this country to the other is they can't make it on $8 or $9 an hour. We need to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. And that living wage is $15 an hour. It is not a radical idea to suggest that if you work 40 hours a week in this country, you should not live in poverty. A great nation is judged not by how many millionaires and billionaires it has, not by how many nuclear weapons it has, but by how it treats the weakest and most vulnerable amongst us. And right now, in Pennsylvania, and in Vermont, and across this country, we have millions of seniors, disabled veterans, and people with disabilities who are struggling to get by on $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security. And you know what? You can't get by on $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security. Now, Republicans, their response to this crisis in many respects is to say, okay, let's cut Social Security. Well, I got some bad news for my Republican colleagues. We're not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand Social Security benefits. This campaign is listening to women. And women are telling me they are sick and tired of going to work and finding out they're making 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. The women of this country want the whole damn dollar, and they're right. And I know that every man in this arena will stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. This campaign is listening to young people. You know, when we began this campaign, the kind of punditry analysis was, well, young people, you know, they're not interested in government, they're not interested in politics, they're too busy with their video games or whatever else they do. Well, turns out not to be quite accurate. Turns out that young people fully understand they are the future of our country, and they want to help determine the future of this country. And wherever I go, young people ask me, they say, listen, our parents told us, go out and get a good education. Our teacher said, get all the education that you can. The whole community said, we are living in a competitive global economy. We need the best educated workforce in the world. Go out and get that education. But then young people come up to me and they say, we did what people told us to do. Now we are $30,000, $50,000, $70,000 in debt. And the question is, why are we punishing millions of young people for doing exactly what we asked them to do? We should be rewarding people for getting an education, not punishing them. Now just think outside of the box for a moment. Think outside of the status quo. Go beyond where media wants you to go and what our options are. You all know that if this country is to succeed in the future with a strong economy, we all need to have the best education possible. Is that right? Education is inherent in who we are as human beings. We should be educating ourselves to the day we die. It is literally insane to be punishing millions of people, to saying to them, you're going to be paying off your student debt for decades because you got an education. Woman in my own state of Vermont, her dream was to go to medical school. She did. $300,000 in debt. We desperately need more dentists in this country. Woman, Iowa, graduates dental school, $400,000 in debt. Talk to a guy in Nevada, 55 years of age. He's been paying off his student debt for 25 years. He's more in debt today than he was when he took out the damn debt. That is not only unfair to the individuals, it is absurd when we talk about the future of our economy. And that is why I believe when we talk about public education today, it is not good enough to just talk about free public education, meaning first grade through 12th grade. The world has changed. The economy has changed. People need more education now than they did 30, 50 years ago. And that is why when we think about public education today, we have got to be thinking about making public colleges and universities tuition free. And with millions of people being crushed by high levels of student debt, we have got to reduce that debt significantly. And we do that by allowing people with the debt to refinance their loans at the lowest interest rates they can find. Now, very often in this campaign, I'm being criticized for thinking too big. Bernie, you are Santa Claus. You're giving away free tuition. You're going to lower student debt. You're a nice guy. How are you going to pay for all this stuff? All right, I want you to think about a couple of things. Number one, in the last 30 years, there has been a massive transfer of wealth in this country from the middle class to the top 0.1%. Trillions of dollars gone from the hands of working families to the very wealthiest people in this country. Second of all, back in 2008, 2009, this country bailed out Wall Street after their illegal behavior helped destroy our economy. I believe that now is the time to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. If we could bail out Wall Street, now it is Wall Street's time to help the middle class. And if we do that, we're going to bring in more than enough money to make public college and universities tuition-free and lower student debt. This campaign is about transforming our national priorities, not accepting the status quo of today. This campaign is listening to the African American community. And they're asking me a very simple but profound question. Bernie, they ask, how does it happen that we have trillions of dollars to spend on a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into? But somehow we seem not to have enough money to rebuild our crumbling inner cities. And they are absolutely right. I have been to Flint, Michigan. And what I saw in Flint, Michigan was unspeakable, in that children were being poisoned by lead in the water, which is impacting their cognitive capabilities. But it's not just Flint. I was in Detroit, Michigan. Their school system is crumbling as we stand here tonight. All over this country, in inner-city America, rents are unaffordable, unemployment rates off the charts, too many people being arrested and sent to jail. We have got to invest in inner cities in this country and rebuild our infrastructure. If we can rebuild the infrastructure in Iraq and Afghanistan, we damn well can rebuild the infrastructure in America. And by the way, when we rebuild our inner cities, when we rebuild our roads and our bridges and our water systems and our wastewater plants and our rail system and our airports, we make America safer, stronger, and we create 13 million decent-paying jobs. This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. Today, we've got 11 million undocumented people in this country, and many of them are being exploited every day, because when you don't have a legal right, your employer could do anything he wants to you. And that is why, together, we are going to pass comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. This campaign is listening to a people whose voices are almost never heard, and that is the Native American community. From before this country became a country, when the first settlers came here, the Native American people were lied to, they were cheated, and treaties negotiated were broken. We as the people owe the Native American community more than we can ever repay. Some of the best aspects of our culture come from the Native American people. They have taught us, among other things, that as human beings, we are part of nature. That we have got to live with nature, not destroy nature. And yet today, despite all they have given us, if you go to reservations in this country or Native American communities, you see terrible, terrible poverty, unemployment, suicide rate among teenagers, horrific. If elected president, we will change our government's relationship to the Native American people. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment, and in that respect, I have met with scientists all over our country, scientists all over the world, and here is the simple truth. Climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity, and it is already doing devastating harm to our country and much of the world. And here is the other truth, a scary truth, but a truth nonetheless. And that is what the scientists are telling us is that we have a very short window of opportunity to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energies. And in my view, we have a moral responsibility to make certain that the planet we leave our kids and future generations is a planet that is healthy and habitable. And what that means politically is that we have got to stand together and take on the fossil fuel industry and tell them that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of our planet. And by the way, if we are prepared to think big and think of a clean, sustainable energy system where our homes and our buildings are energy efficient, where our transportation system is energy efficient, where we move aggressively to solar, wind, geothermal, and other sustainable technologies, we can create millions of good-paying green jobs as we make that transformation. Let me repeat now what I have been criticized for saying on many occasions, so let me be crystal clear and say it again. And that is, it is my view that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. Now, the corporate media doesn't talk about this a whole lot, because they're too busy getting ads from the insurance companies and the drug companies. So let me tell you what you may not see on TV, and that is we are the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people as a right. They do it in the UK, they do it in France, Germany, Scandinavia, Holland. I live 50 miles away from the Canadian border. They do it in Canada. Now, right now, as a result of the gains of the Affordable Care Act, we have made some progress. We got 17 million Americans who now have health insurance who previously did not. We've done away with pre-existing conditions. Many young people are now able to be on their parents' insurance plans. All of that is good, but it is not good enough. Today, 29 million people have no health insurance. Even more, including many here tonight, are underinsured with high deductibles and co-payments. And every person here is getting ripped off by the drug companies who charge us the highest prices in the world for medicine. And despite all of that, we end up spending much more per capita on health care than do the people of any other major country. In my view, and this is thinking outside of the box, but it's envisaging a new America. In my view, we need to pass a Medicare for all single-payer program. Think of an America where every person has health care as a right. Think of an America where you can quit your job and go out and start your own business and not worry about having health insurance. And if you're a small business person, you don't have to worry about how you're going to provide health insurance to your employees because they will already have health insurance. Everybody here understands that what American history has been about is the understanding that real change never takes place from the top on down, always from the bottom on up. That is the history of America. Think back, 100+ years ago. Workers in this country forced to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, children working in factories. People could be fired arbitrarily. They had no rights on the job. And workers stood up and they said, we are not beasts of burden. We're not animals. We are human beings. We want dignity. We're going to form trade unions and negotiate contracts. In the United States of America. And millions of people stood up to fight for an America not based on racism. Think about 100 years ago, not a long time from an historical perspective. 100 years ago today, women did not have the right to vote, could not get the education they wanted, could not do the work they wanted. They stood up and they said, the status quo ain't good enough. It's unacceptable. And women and their male allies said that in America, women will not be second-class citizens. And on it goes. That's how change takes place. Think about this. If we were in this room 10 years ago, which is no time at all from an historical perspective, 10 years ago, and somebody here jumps up and says, you know, Bernie, I think that gay marriage will be made legal in this country in 50 states by the year 2015. Do you know what the person next to her would have said? Would have said, you're crazy. You're thinking too big. It can't happen. But what happened is the gay community and their straight allies, they stood up and they made the claim that became impossible to argue against, and that is that people have a right to love each other regardless of their gender. That is how change takes place, always takes place, when people stand up and reject the status quo and come together. Give you one more example. 5 years ago, if we were in this room 5 years ago and somebody jumps up and says, Bernie, you know, this $7.25 an hour minimum wage, it's an outrage. People can't live on it. We got to raise that minimum wage to $15 an hour. Person next to him would have said, $15 an hour? You want to more than double the minimum wage? You're nuts. You're thinking too big. You're too radical. Maybe $8, maybe $10. You can't go to $15 an hour. But you know what happened? Workers in the fast food industry, in McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, they went out on strike. And they said to the American people, we can't make it on $7.25 an hour. And then you know what happened? A couple of years ago in Seattle, Washington, they passed a $15 an hour minimum wage. And then in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oregon, California, New York State. Here is my point. The major crisis we face are not the crises themselves. It is the belief told us every single day by the establishment, by the media, by Congress, you can't make change. This is the status quo, this is the way it is, and this is the way it always will be. Doesn't matter what you believe. And that is what this campaign is challenging. And that is why we're going to win this election. Because change takes place when people look around them and say, whoa, what is going on? This is just not acceptable. And that is what's happening in America today. People all over this country are beginning to see that the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality, where almost all new income and wealth is going to the top 1%, unacceptable. People are beginning to see that it is absurd that we are the only major country on earth not to provide paid family and medical leave. People are asking, how come every other major country on earth can somehow provide health care to all of their people, but we can't do it? Unacceptable. People are asking, how does it happen? Why does it happen that our infrastructure continues to crumble? Why does it happen that we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth? Why do we have a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy election? Why do we have more people in jail than any other country? Debt. Those are the questions that people are beginning to ask. And as soon as they ask those questions, they quickly realize that establishment politics and establishment economics are not going to solve those problems. I am the only candidate for president to tell you a simple truth, and that is that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can solve these crises alone. We need millions of people, including many people who have given up on the political process, who have turned away from the process in disgust. We need them back into the system to reclaim American democracy. We need young people. Many of whom may never have voted yet in their lives to say, excuse me, the decisions you are making now are going to impact me and my kids for the next many, many decades. You better listen to what we have to say. So what this political revolution is about is the understanding is that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can do it alone. The only way we go forward and rebuild America and create the economy that works for all of us, the environment that works for all of us, is when millions of people stand up and say loudly and clearly, enough is enough. And if we do not allow the Donald Trumps of the world to divide us up, if we all understand that our strength is in our diversity, and if we stand together, and if we demand a government that represents all of us and not just the 1%, when we stand together, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. Next Tuesday, here in Pennsylvania, there will be an enormously important Democratic primary. What I have learned so far from this campaign is when voter turnout is high, we win. When voter turnout is low, we lose. So next Tuesday, let us have the highest voter turnout in Pennsylvania history. And let Pennsylvania go forward and tell the world you are going to lead this country into a political revolution. Thank you all very much.
people in state after state have made it clear. They cry out for a new path. This is the year of the outsider. I'm an outsider. Bernie Sanders is an outsider. Both with the same diagnosis, but both with very different paths to healing. Millions of Americans have chosen one of these outsiders. Our campaigns don't find our fuel in bundlers and special interests, but rather directly from the people. The wide-eyed youth of any age that haven't given up on the hope that tomorrow can and will be better. Ronald Reagan and Jack Kennedy were outsiders. They both represented a whole new vision and vibrancy, a new generation of ideas. Jack Kennedy looked forward instead of back to the first half century of World War. He knew that America could dream and build if we were set free. Not tanks for war, but rockets for exploration. Reagan looked out to us, the most powerful force for innovation that the world has ever known. There we found new tech pioneers like Bill Gates and a young Steve Jobs. They had vision and the freedom to build a new world that at the time only they saw because they were free. They challenged the way and changed the way that all of us live, work, and interact. Now it's our turn. This generation must first look inward to see who we really are after years of being beaten down. Years of being told we couldn't, shouldn't, or wouldn't. This generation needs to answer a new set of questions. Can we? Should we? Will we? Are we still those people? Those dreamers and doers? Are America's greatest generations in our past, or are our best days yet ahead? We must unite the Republican Party, because doing so is the first step towards uniting all Americans. The question is not whether all Americans can or will agree on a majority of issues all of the time. The question is whether a majority of Americans are hungry to rally around a set of principles larger than any single issue that a politician may use to divide us. Tonight, I'm speaking to you from Philadelphia. It's natural, when we talk about our nation's earliest days, that we focus our attention on the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. And we can learn a great deal about a path forward by focusing on the passionate disputes and disagreements among our founding fathers. Differences that were put aside only because of the weight and consequences of the foundational principles they sought to proclaim and the price to be paid if they failed to rise to the task. Today, as Republicans, we agree on a lot. And sure, areas of lesser agreement exist as well. But on the fundamental question, are we satisfied with the current direction of our country? We speak with one voice. I call on you, as JFK did in the 60s, and as Reagan did in the 80s, to chart a new American journey forward, one that isn't led by me or anyone in Washington, but by you and millions others just like you. One where we still have differences, yet we choose to concentrate on what we have in common. One that lifts others up and believes in the rights, responsibilities, goodness, and the strength of all mankind. We have so much that binds us together. Our families, our work ethic, our ability to dream and build unlike any people in history. But most of all, our charity, our love for our fellow men and women, and our willingness to sacrifice for those in need. Let us unite on the things that have always made us great. We are great because we are good. Because over and over again we have chosen courage in the moment of crisis, freedom in the face of compromise, and hope in the face of challenges that everyone told us could not be overcome. Our sitting president ran on a slogan that should have been a great first step. It promised us, yes, we can. Now is the time to take that slogan and put it into action. Yes, we can was a recognition of the hope that we can and should recover. The problem was that Barack Obama's prescriptions only led to more elitist control from Washington and less freedom for the people. But now is the time as Americans once again to reclaim that hope, to take another giant leap for mankind, to speak the words with all the power and might that we can muster, and use the words that have changed the world time and again. The words that the slaves yearned to hear from the American people and Abraham Lincoln when they cried out for freedom. The words that Europe and Britain heard when they cried out for help defeating totalitarian evil in the 1940s. The words that led two men in North Carolina to be the first in flight. And a half-century later, the first man to reach the moon. And decades later, two men in their garage to come up with Apple. They are the words that will repair our tattered spirit, lift up our economy and those who are barely making it. They are the words that will vanquish the evil of ISIS and return the rule of law. They are the words that when Americans come together and say with conviction, they change the world. They are the vision of this campaign. Not yes we can, but now, yes we will. We will restore our spirit. We will free our minds and imagination. We will create a new and better world. We will bring back jobs and freedom and security. We will find new ways to ignite an energy revolution with more jobs and greater choices. We will defeat the evil of Islamists and ISIS. We will live as neighbors, friends, and family in peace once again. We will heal the sick, feed the poor, and defend the defenseless. We will restore our rightful place in the world. We will do what Americans do best. We will live for others. We will change the world through the hope of freedom's enduring promise and our unrelenting spirit. You can be empowered. And in a digital age, it is all the easier for your individual voice to be heard. Your choices to govern your work, your education, your future. If only Washington will get out of the way. Join me now on this journey of less talk and more action, real solutions, because I know you. You may have been knocked down, but America has always been best when she is lying down with her back on the mat and the crowd has given the final count. It is time for us as a nation to get up, to shake it off and be who we were destined to be. Don't let anyone try to convince you otherwise. Here's the truth. You don't need me or any politician, but we do need each other. All of us, coming together as one, as we the people. Because not only do we say, yes, we can, beginning here and now, we pledge to each and every one of us, yes, we will. And now, my friends, onward to victory.
be the best, the people of New York, when they give us this kind of a vote. And it's just incredible. And I guess we're close to 70%, and we're going to end at a very high level and get a lot more delegates than anybody projected, even in their wildest imagination. So I just want to thank everybody here. I want to thank my family. I want to thank... So, I really want to thank my team. My team has been amazing. And, you know, it's actually a team of unity. It's evolving, but people don't understand that. The press does understand it. They just don't want to talk about it. That's okay. Just keep talking. It's very important. Keep talking. But this has been an incredible evening. It's been an incredible day and week. We went all over New York State. New York State has problems like virtually every other state in the union. Our jobs are being sucked out of our states. They're being taken out of our country, and we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're going to stop it. Very importantly, and behind me I have to say, we have some of our great businessmen of the world. Carl Icahn is here someplace. Where's Carl? Howard Lorber, Ben LeBeau, the great Steve Roth. Steve's building a big building on Central Park South. It's a tremendous success. I said, Steve, congratulations on the building. He said, Donald, it's nothing compared to what's happening with you. Is that right, my man? So anyway, we're proud of him. But we have our great leaders, and it has been really something. It has been really something amazing. And believe me, we are going to use our great business people to negotiate unbelievable trade deals so we bring our jobs back and we don't let our companies go to Mexico and all of these other countries anymore. We're going to keep the jobs here. You're going to be very proud of this country very soon. We're going to build our military bigger, better, stronger than ever before. Nobody is going to mess with us. That I can tell you. We're going to take care of our vets. Our vets are great people, and we have forgotten our vets. Illegal immigrants are taken care of in many cases better than our vets. That's not going to happen anymore. That is not going to happen. We're getting rid of Obamacare. It's going to be repealed and replaced. It is a total disaster with premiums going up 35, 45, 55%. It's going to probably end. When you where you look, we are going to solve those problems. And one of the big problems is the economy and jobs, and that is my wheelhouse. So, again, I want to thank everybody. It's really nice to win the delegates with the votes. You know, it's really nice. Nope. Nobody should be given delegates, which is a ticket to victory, and it's not a fair ticket. And even though we're leading by a lot and we can't be caught, it's impossible to catch us. Nobody should take delegates and claim victory unless they get those delegates with voters and voting. And that's what's going to happen. And you watch, because the people aren't going to stand for it. It's a crooked system. It's a system that's rigged. And we're going to go back to the old way. It's called you vote and you win. So we'll be going into the convention no matter what happens, and I think we're going to go in so strong. And over the next number of weeks, we just saw a poll come out of California, which is an unbelievable poll. But we're going to go into the convention, I think, as the winner. But nobody can take an election away with the way they're doing it in the Republican Party. And by the way, I am no fan of Bernie, but I've seen Bernie win, 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 and then I watch, and they say he has no chance of winning. So they have their superdelegate. The Republican system is worse. So I want to just thank everybody. I have great, great admiration and praise for the city of New York and the state of New York. I can think of nowhere that I would rather have this victory. So we love you all. Have a great evening. Tomorrow morning, I'm flying tomorrow morning to Indiana. I'm going to Pennsylvania. I will be all over. So we're going to celebrate for about 2 hours. Then early in the morning, I get up and we begin working again. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, New York. We love New York. We love New York. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Start spreading the news. I want to wake up in a city that doesn't sleep and find I'm king of the hill, top of the heap. These little town blues are melting away. I'll make a brand new start of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York. In a city
for Donald Trump. Now let us turn the top of the Empire State Building the color blue that we have assigned to Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, dark blue. And there you see at the Empire State Building, dark blue in honor as a projection of the victory of Hillary Clinton. And Dana Bash, I have to say, this is a big victory for Secretary Clinton. A few weeks ago, there were people, allies of hers, who thought, oh my God, it's possible that she might not even win her home state. But at the end of the day, she did. She knows the state very well. She's campaigned here statewide several times, starting in 1999 for the Senate seat, and a big, sweet victory for her this evening.
Oh, no question about it. A huge victory for her, especially since when you think about it, Brianna mentioned the 10-year mark. It really has been 10 years since she ran for re-election as senator here. And of course, she ran in the New York primary, but as Clinton supporters remind us, Barack Obama didn't really compete here because what was the point? She was a sitting senator. So this is something that is incredibly sweet for her, important. And we'll see what happens when it comes to the proportionality of it, whether or not Bernie Sanders really can rack up some delegates. But at this point, give her her due. She has a hometown win.
Ladies and gentlemen, to sing the national anthem, please welcome Carmen Rogers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, where so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former mayor of New York City, David Dinkins.
I'm the 106th mayor of the city of New York. I'm a proud supporter of Hillary Clinton. As a matter of fact, today is the 4th time I voted for her. I am delighted to be here. I don't know when I've seen this room so full of wonderful people. Good Democrats all. Our city, like many others around the country, is struggling to deal with issues of affordable housing, homelessness, mass incarceration, mental health, and accessible public education for everyone. We should not still be living in a society where those who have worked all their lives have to choose between paying rent, buying food, or getting the medicine they need. Hillary is the only candidate possessing the authentic vision, expertise, and training to ensure that no American will be faced with such choices beyond the next decade. I've seen her work around the clock to strengthen communities and believe that she is the only candidate that can unite our great country beyond this time of division. By way of full disclosure, Hillary Clinton has always shown me support before, during, and after my time in office. We've known each other ever since her early days with the Children's Defense Fund, and she's been an outstanding appointment. People who know me know that I love children, and I remember when she, way back, right out of law school, went to work with the Children's Defense Fund.
Now, that tells me, now, aside from all her other qualities and proven expertise, that for me is enough. If you don't, she gives so much of her energy and wisdom to helping all of our residents, but especially our littlest citizens. She's done this as a public interest lawyer, as First Lady, as Senator, as Secretary of State, at the Clinton Foundation, and now as our presidential candidate. She does this as a daughter, wife, mother, and now as a grandmother. While the Sanders campaign makes empty promises to New Yorkers, his talk of a revolution without a plan, Hillary Clinton stands with us, speaking out, calling for immediate action and laying out detailed plans about how to get it done. Everything that Hillary has done in her life reflects her indomitable spirit, her powerful intellect, and her commitment to public service, and she continues to do it with a whole lot of heart. Her dedication is truly remarkable. There is no doubt in my mind that she's the best candidate for our country. She has a vision and always stands with the people as a force for real social change, to balance the scales for pay equity and shatter invisible ceilings for women and girls. She fights to raise the minimum wage for hardworking citizens. She's a champion of responsible and responsive government, affordable housing, education and civil rights, voting rights, women's rights, public safety, and child welfare. Hillary Clinton's trailblazing advocacy is a force for real change in a complex world that needs her leadership, because she will never give up. She has earned our gratitude and respect for the work she's already done and the work that we all know that she will do as our 46th president, 45th president of the United States of America. God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Mayor of New York City, Mayor Bill de Blasio.
New York. New York, you did something wonderful tonight for America. It's been a long time since New York has been the center of political attention for this nation. It's been decades. You had one chance, and you know what? You got it right. And this will be the moment people look back on when New York said, we know who the right leader is for our nation. We know America can get better, and we know who will bring us there. And her name is Hillary Rodham Clinton. There has never been anyone who ran for President of the United States who had more experience, more qualifications, and a deeper understanding of what it would take to change this nation. No one in the history of the Republic.
And you have to look back many, many decades to find someone with as deeply profound and progressive a vision of what a fair and inclusive society can be in this nation. When, keyword when, she walks in the door at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, she will have the most progressive platform for economic change of any president in a half-century. And that's what we need in this country. So I'm going to ask you to do a little call and response here. It's very simple. You ready? Okay. I'm going to say something, and I'd like you to respond, "We need Hillary." Okay, good practice. That was good. If we're going to raise wages, if we're going to have paid family leave, if we're going to have pre-K for all the children, if we're going to fight climate change, if we're going to make this a nation that's truly just for all, if we're going to fight back the forces of hatred and division, if we're going to be a nation proud to be a country of immigrants, if this nation is going to be all it was meant to be, are you ready for her? God bless you all, and thank you, New York.
To you, New York, New York, New York.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agreed politely. I guess that I forgot I had a choice. I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up, already brushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound, like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me She's just a girl and she's on fire. Hotter than a fantasy, only like a highway. She's living in a world and it's on fire. Filled with catastrophe, but she knows she can fly away. Oh, she got both feet on the ground and she's burning it down. Oh, she got her head in the clouds and she's not backing down. This girl is on fire. This girl is on fire.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Governor Andrew Cuomo.
we're doing better than that. Are there any Democrats in the House? Are there Hillary Democrats in the House? How much do we love Hillary? How great is tonight? How loud has New York spoken so the nation can hear? Hillary Clinton, the next president of the United States. I'll tell you, my friends, it was such a treat these past few weeks. How great was it to have Hillary and Bill back in New York campaigning? Wasn't it great? I'll tell you, on a personal level, I loved it. I worked in the Clinton administration. I'm proud to say I was there from day one to the last day of the Clinton administration. And that administration redeemed the dream. It showed this country how government can work, how we can come together, how we can create jobs, and we can increase wealth, and we can reduce poverty. And that's what the Clinton record was all about. And Hillary is a New York Democrat. She gets us. She is a can-do Democrat. She knows that government is about making a difference in people's lives and getting results. She knows that New York State, we don't just talk the progressive talk, we walk the progressive walk. She knows in New York State we deliver results. This is the state that passed marriage equality, and we sent that all across the country. This is the state that passed gun control and said every state should pass gun control. And then Hillary was our good luck charm while she was in the state. We passed a state budget that has done more good things than we've done in decades. We passed more funding for education than any time in the history of the state. More funding for pre-K than any time in history. More money for environmental protection than any time in history. Lowest middle class taxes in 70 years, and we passed the best paid family law in the United States of America. And then what an honor to have Hillary Clinton stand with us when we were the first state to sign $15 minimum wage into law in the United States. No, in New York, it's about delivery. It's about results, and that's why we love Hillary. She was Senator of New York, and she delivered results for New Yorkers year after year after year, and that's why New Yorkers remember, and New Yorkers are loyal. And Hillary delivered for us, and tonight we delivered for Hillary Clinton, and we put her on the path to be the next president of the United States. And my friends, not only does Hillary Clinton know that government is about service and about delivery, Hillary Clinton is also the best candidate for us to win in November, and this is about winning in November. This November, this nation has two very clear choices. Two very clear choices. The more you hear the opponent speak, the clearer and the more important these choices become. You know what they're saying on the other side. They're taking the fear, they're They're taking the anxiety and they're trying to pit us one against the other. They're trying to say the problem is the different people. You know what they mean by the different people? Different people are people with different skin colors, people with different sexual orientation, people with different religions. That's what they're saying the different people are. And what we're saying in New York is, don't you ever try to turn us one against another. Where do you think you are? You're in New York. We're not afraid of diversity. We celebrate our diversity. We love the fact that we're black and brown and Asian. We love that we're gay and straight. We love that we're Christian and Jewish and Muslim. We love it that we're all together. That's who we are. Welcome to New York. You're going to turn us against immigrants? We're all immigrants. And we love it. You're going to tell us about America. We're going to point you to the Statue of Liberty that welcomed everyone here with one promise, e pluribus unum, out of many one. That's what this country's about. And don't you ever try to turn us one against the other. That's going to be Hillary's message. Hillary's message is going to be, we're going to take this nation forward, but you know what? We're going to take this nation forward together. We're leaving no one behind. Because we believe the sweetest success is shared success. That's what we've proven in New York. That's what tonight proves loud and clear. And we're going to send forth our Hillary Rodham Clinton to the rest of the nation with New York at her back and our wind in her sail. And we say, go get him, Hillary! Go get him, President Hillary Rodham Clinton! And let's make this nation the best it's ever been. Thank you, God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Hillary Clinton.
Thank you, New York. Thank you all so much. Thank you. You know, today you proved once again there's no place like home. You know, in this campaign, we've won in every region of the country. From the north to the south, to the east, to the west, but this one's personal. New Yorkers, you've always had my back. And I've always tried to have yours. Today, together, we did it again, and I am deeply, deeply grateful. I want to thank everyone who came out and voted, and to all of you across New York who've known me and worked with me for so long. It is humbling. It's humbling that you'd trust me with the awesome responsibilities that await our next president. And to all the people who supported Senator Sanders, I believe there is much more that unites us than divides us. We started this race not far from here on Roosevelt Island, pledging to build on the progressive tradition that's done so much for America, from Franklin Roosevelt to Barack Obama. And tonight, little less than a year later, the race for the Democratic nomination is in the home stretch and victory is in sight. And I want to say to all of my supporters and all of the voters, you have carried us every step of the way with passion and determination that some critics tried to dismiss. Because of you, this campaign is the only one, Democrat or Republican, to win more than 10 million votes. But I'm going forward because more voices remain to be heard, and tomorrow it's on to Connecticut, Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and beyond. We need you to keep volunteering. I hope you will join the 1.1 million people who've already contributed at HillaryClinton.com. And by the way, most with less than $100, because we have more work to do. Under the bright lights of New York, we have seen that it's not enough to diagnose problems. You have to explain how you'd actually solve the problems. That's what we have to do together for our kids, for each other, for our country. So I want you with me to imagine a tomorrow where no barriers hold you back and all of our people can share in the promise of America. Imagine a tomorrow where every parent can find a good job and every grandparent can enjoy a secure retirement. Where no child grows up in the shadow of discrimination or under the specter of deportation. Where hard work is honored, families are supported, and communities are strong. A tomorrow where we trust and respect each other despite our differences. Because we're going to make positive differences in people's lives. That is what this is supposed to be about, actually helping people and each other. Now, we all know too many people who are still hurting. I see it everywhere I go. The Great Recession wiped out jobs, homes, and savings, and a lot of Americans haven't yet recovered. But I still believe with all my heart that, as another great Democratic president once said, there's nothing wrong with America that can't be cured by what's right with America. That is, after all, what we've always done. It's who we are. America is a problem-solving nation. And in this campaign, we are setting bold, progressive goals backed up by real plans that will improve lives, creating more good jobs that provide dignity and pride in a middle-class life, raising wages and reducing inequality, making sure all our kids get a good education no matter what zip code they live in. Building ladders of opportunity and empowerment so all of our people can go as far as their hard work and talent will take them. Let's revitalize places that have been left out and left behind, from inner cities to coal country to Indian country. And let's put Americans to work rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, including our failing water systems like the one in Flint, Michigan. There are many places across our country where children and families are at risk from the water they drink and the air they breathe. Let's combat climate change and make America the clean energy superpower of the 21st century. Let's take on the challenge of systemic racism. Invest in communities of color. And finally pass comprehensive immigration reform. And once and for all, let's guarantee equal pay for women. And we are going to keep our families safe and our country strong, and we're going to defend our rights. Civil rights, voting rights, workers' rights, women's rights, LGBT rights, and rights for people with disabilities. Those are, after all, New York values, and they are American values. And just as we did in this primary campaign, we need to stand up for them through the general election and every day after that. You know, it's becoming clearer that this may be one of the most consequential elections of our lifetimes. Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are pushing a vision for America that's divisive and frankly dangerous. Returning to trickle-down economics, opposing any increase in the minimum wage, restricting a woman's right to make her own health care decisions, promising to round up millions of immigrants, threatening to ban all Muslims from entering the country, planning to treat American Muslims like criminals. These things go against everything America stands for. And we have a very different vision. It's about lifting each other up, not tearing each other down. So instead of building walls, we're going to break down barriers. And in this campaign, I've seen again our remarkable diversity and determination. This is a state and a country of big-hearted, open-minded, straight-talking, hard-working people. You know, like John, a firefighter from the South Bronx that I met shortly after 9/11 as he searched for survivors at Ground Zero. And like so many others, John got sick from breathing the toxic air. When we met again last week, he gave me a replica of his FDNY badge and thanked me for helping our first responders get the health care they need. We have to keep fighting for John and all of our firefighters and our police officers, our emergency responders, and the construction workers who did so much for us. Or Maxine, a 27-year-old single mom from Staten Island who's here tonight. She shared with me how she worked her way out of poverty, graduated from college, thanks in part to the help she got for her child from the Children's Health Insurance Program that we started in the 1990s. Or Mikey from Stuyvesant Town, who spent, is Mikey here? Well, I'll tell you, Mikey spent 6 months in Rikers for a low-level drug offense. And he found out how hard it is for people who've done their time to find jobs when they get out. Mikey managed to start his own ice cream shop. I took a lot of you in reality or through the media there yesterday. I highly recommend it. As you might have seen, I couldn't stop myself from eating it as soon as I got it. By the way, he made a concoction for me called Victory. But Mikey is one of the many reasons why we have to reform our criminal justice system and ban the box so others have a fair chance to succeed. You know, New Yorkers and Americans speak every language, follow every faith, hail from every continent. Our diversity is one of our greatest strengths in the 21st century, not a weakness. As Robert Kennedy, whose Senate seat I was honored to hold, once said, "We are a great country, an unselfish country, and a compassionate country." And no matter what anyone tells you or what you might hear from others running for president, that is still true today. America is great, and we can do great things if we do them together. So please join us. Text JOIN 47246. Go to HillaryClinton.com. Be part of this campaign. I know how important it is that we get the campaign's resources from people just like you who go in and chip in $5, $25. I am grateful to every one of you. And to the volunteers who have worked your hearts out. To the community leaders, members of the state Senate and Assembly, county executives, mayors of cities, large and small, and to the mayor of New York, and our borough presidents, and our city council members, and to our governor, our senators, our congressional delegation, and all my friends across this wonderful state of ours, thank you. You know, we're going to go up against some powerful forces that will do, say, and spend whatever it takes to stop us. But remember, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. And finally, let me say this, finally. Finally, let me say this. There is a remarkable young woman here tonight. Her name is Erica. Erica Smigelski. She lives the truth of what I've been saying every day. Erica's mother, Dawn, was the principal of Sandy Hook Elementary School. And she died trying to protect her children, her students. Erica was devastated, as any family member is. And she couldn't imagine life without her mom. But then she got thinking. She got back up. She'd never been involved in politics before, but she has made it her mission to advocate for common sense gun safety reform. You know, like the mothers of Eric Garner and Trayvon Martin and so many others, Erica has turned her sorrow into a strategy and her mourning into a movement. It isn't easy, but as Erica said the other day, what if everyone who faced tough odds said, "It's hard, so I'm going to walk away"? That's not the type of world I want to live in. Erica, it's not the type of world we want to live in, and we refuse to live in that. So, my friends, that's the spirit that makes this country great. It's how New Yorkers pulled together and rebuilt our city after the worst terrorist attack in our history. It's how Americans worked our way back from the worst economic crisis in our lifetimes. And it is how we're going to break down all the barriers holding us back. The motto of this state is Excelsior, ever upward. So let's go out and win this election and all rise together. Thank you so much.